Now that everything seems to be stable with this latest BIOS update, now we're ready to go for the RAM. So what we need to do is power the machine down, drain the power off of it, turn the switch off, drain the power out, and go for the rest of the RAM. You guys ready for that? I know I am. So we will power down. All right, machine is shut down. So what we need to do now is turn the power off. I still see a light on the back, so we hit the power button. Power's drained out. We're good to go. So we need to turn this down. We're getting ready for some serious business. So what we want to do is suit up. Now even though power is off on the power supply, just to be safe, I'm going to disconnect power and set that aside. Got to suit up. I feel like a cartoon character, except I got 4 fingers. You ever notice in cartoons they got 3 fingers? You ever notice that? How's that relevant? If you do animation, then you know where I'm coming from. Okay, power's off, power's disconnected. Here we go. To do this properly, we're going to be using a different endoscope, so we're going to do some stuff overhead. So I need to get this out of the box because I need to show you what's going on down there. Now the last time we used an endoscope was when we were looking at having to take the video card out, and we had to reach that lock to get that video card out so that we could replace the NVMe drive, the boot drive. This time we're going to be doing memory, and this is a different, I don't know if it's better, but this is a different card. This is a different endoscope. This is an OtoScope, OtoScope, and this is the kind of scope you use in your ear. We're going to see if we get better resolution with this, but I can tell you this is called the ear pick. We're on the hunt, we're on the search. We don't need a microscope. We need a borescope. We need an endoscope to do what we're trying to do. But we are on the hunt. We are searching for one. So if you guys have a favorite endoscope that you're using, we'd like to hear about it. It's got to be resolution, high resolution. The last one we had was supposed to record at 1080 resolution. It showed 1080 resolution, but it didn't record at 1080. It recorded at 640 by 480. In fact, this almost looks like a smartphone. Wow, this looks nice. It comes with the wand attached. The cable's a little bit looser, a little easier to work with. So hopefully this will power up. It should have memory already in it. Let's get an overhead on that. That would be number 3. This particular endoscope is called Ear Pick, and it's an OtoScope. This is a model P50, and we will put a link up to this so you'll know where this came from if this works. But it should have memory in it, the TF card. See if we can get the camera to show that. Yeah, right there, the TF card. So this slot, this piece of plastic comes up, shows reset, TF, and USB. The TF card should already be in it. It's got a nice screen, looks like almost like a smartphone. And let's see how well this works. Okay, USB power cable. There should be some wands in here for something. Not sure what that is. And there are some, oh, because it's an OtoScope, it's got the little tips you would use to look inside there with. So that's what all that's for. And there's the piece that goes in the ear. Those little things we don't need. All we need is the USB cable to power it, and let's see if we got any power on it. So when we turn this on, we get light. There it is, it's coming on. Okay, pioneering. So let's see how well this looks, because what we're going to do shows it's got a full charge. What we're going to do, ooh, that's rough looking. I don't like the way that looks at all. First of all, let me get this wand clear here. Cable's tied up. What we're trying to look at and show and demonstrate is the clearance we have from the cooler with the fans in relation to the top of the memory. That's what we're trying to see. Now this has lights on it so that it should illuminate the area. And what we're going to do is look down here at the RAM and check that clearance. Okay, you see the top of that RAM and you can see that fan. That fan is too low. So that fan's got to be raised up. So that's what we want to do. Once this comes on and kind of gets going, it's not too bad. So I'm going to leave it running, set it aside. And what we've got to do is we've got to raise these fans. The problem is with the fans, and if you'll notice, because we're so close here, I can't get to the clip right down here that I need to raise those. So we're going to see how well this is going to work. I can pull the clip on the left, but I'm not sure if I can pull the clip on the right. No, I cannot. Video card is going to come out. Okay. So since the video card has to come out, here we go with that. Got to disconnect that for the moment. So I'm wondering, because this has a longer wand, I cannot I can stick it in a hole here and show. What I'm looking for is to see where that clip is on the bottom, because I'm going to have the same issue reaching underneath there on that clip, which should be, it's right across the RAM. Should be right under that area there. Doesn't help like I thought it would. So we're going to have to keep looking for another, thought I was so smart with that. We'll keep looking for another endoscope. That just doesn't do what I need. Video card's got to come out though, and I know what I got to do, so I need a bag for it. Okay, we got the bag for the video card. We want to keep that handy because that's got to come out. No two ways about it. Borescope's a great idea, but we got to keep looking. The other borescope was actually better suited for this, but it didn't record very well. So we've got to get underneath that and release that latch. That's not going to be easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another little trick where we will take the clips off the fan another way. This may be a little bit faster. I need a straight blade and I need a long screwdriver. So I'll get my tips out, and right here I've disconnected the clip here at the top right there, and I've got to disconnect the clip down here at the bottom. I'll use a smaller tip. That was a number 2, this is a number 1. Okay, that clip is off. And on this other side here on the left side, I can pull this off in a conventional manner. Okay, fan is out. And I'll have to reverse that procedure to get that in there correctly. So I'm not going to disconnect the fan from power. My goal is here I want to get the RAM in. I've got 2 sticks. Those are open. So this is reversed. These 2 sticks over here need to be put in first, then these 2. But since I'm here, I'm going to work these 2, then I'll work those. And see if we can do this without having to pull the video card out. So bear with me. And we will go for, well, there may be at some point we use a microscope to look at some of the stuff we're going to do with motherboards. Like when we go looking at PLX chips, that's in the back of my mind. But more than likely, this camera is going to do everything we're going to need. I'm disappointed in the borescope, though. I expected better. The problem with it is it's grainy, and the wand is too long. I needed a shorter wand to look down in there. I can see, since I've taken the fans off, see if I can show you. Since I've taken that first fan off, I can see right down in here pretty well. What I was looking for right there was that latch. Yep, I can just barely see it, but that helps a lot. That latch is what I need to release the video card, and I may still end up doing it. But I took the fan off so that I could see what I was doing. And what I'll do is use a number 2 screwdriver with a flat blade and get on that, push that back so then I can release that and pull that video card up. Then I can put that clip back on the fan. So I can put that fan back on the cooler. So from where we're at, yeah, I can't go in with that screwdriver. I cannot go in with that screwdriver, or can I? Yeah, I can. No, I can see the latch just barely. That's the latch we're looking at right there. That's what we got to flip down. In fact, with the fan off, I can reach it with my finger, but boy, my finger's not strong enough to do that. So I'm curious. I'm going to see if I can release that and pull that out. The other option is to put this back on up higher, which I think I could do. Well, that just popped right out. Okay, so that latch had not been locked. That's interesting. So they fixed that. Good. That was a whole lot easier. Card came right out. Right there's the latch. Oh my goodness. Okay, card came right out. That's the latch that needed to be released right there. You've got to be right on what you're looking at to look at it. Well, that's pretty amazing. So there's the slot and there's the latch. You know, like any tool, you got to learn how to use it. So that helped after the fact. Already got it out. So now that that's out, I'll set it aside. I'll pull the other fan off. In fact, while this is sitting here, I'll put the wire back on so it'll be easier to reattach. I don't want to disconnect the fan from power getting down in there again. I just want to release the fan on both sides. Now that the video card's out, both fans have been separated. So now I can get in on both sides and get our memory set. So we need to start on this side first, then we'll go to this side. So we're going to put these 2 sticks in. Got gloves on, straps on. So let's do this. See how this works. And we have to remember these memory sticks have plastic on the label. See right there? So we need to pull that little plastic label off. These screwdrivers I'm using the most of, I actually have 2 sets. This Linux set I got at Lowe's. This set I bought online. I'll put a link up to both. So we got to peel that label off. I wish they wouldn't do that, but they did. That one's off. Double check our slot. We go to the back, the heel, which is the left. Make sure we're in the slot on both sides. Left side down first. We should hear it click. Right side down. I don't like the way that went in. We'll do that again. Okay, we'll go straight down into the slots. Left side, click. There it did. Right side, click. I felt it. It wasn't loud like I like, but they clicked in. Now for the next stick. Again, we got a label to take off. This is crazy. Whoever thought this was a good idea, not impressed. RAM runs hot. And something like that, there's a lot of people are going to forget to take that off. Okay. I mean, once this stuff is mounted, you don't see those labels. They're proud of it. I am too. That's a lot of memory, but that's just ridiculous. Anyway, final slot, closest. Put the heel in first on the left. Make sure we're going straight in. Make sure we're lined up. Label's correct. Click in the left. Click in the right. And it clicked like it's supposed to. Okay. All 4 should be in, secure, and registered. Fantastic. Now we'll get this side closest to me. Same procedure. We've got labels to remove. Peel that plastic off. Check our location, orientation. Turn those around. Opposite side. We'll go to the first slot. Heel to the left. Straight down. All right. Click in the left. Then click in the right. Snapped in. And it locked. One more to go. We'll have all slots filled. And again, another label to pick. I got to say this. I've never had to pick labels off of a stick of memory before. Building one machine is one thing, but can you imagine if you had a bunch of these to do and your job was to peel that label off? Phew. Okay. Check orientation. And this is the final stick of memory. And we're going to try to use the scope, the bore scope, to see how that lines up where that fan needs to be. And again, this is low profile. So the heel, left, click it in. Go straight down, click it in. And then on the right, click it in. And we heard it click. So all of those should be registered good. We shouldn't have any problems with the memory set. Now the memory's all set and registered. Everything clicked and registered once we got everything set up. Only thing I had to do with one of the sticks was I popped it out because I didn't like the way it sounded, and I popped it in again because I want to make sure that registers correctly. So now we need to get the fans on and get the video card back in. So let's do this. So I'm concerned about bottom clearance, and we're going to take the scope and take a look at that in just a minute. I'm going to raise these up just a little bit to get above it because I am right on it. Raise it just a tad. Lock in one side, lock in the other side. Let's see how that looks. So we'll look at that from underneath, and I'll see if I can rotate this around. Okay, that gives you some idea how close the clearance is underneath there. That is a stick of RAM you're looking at, and that's the clearance on top of that fan. Interesting? There's no other way to get a camera in there to look at that other than using one of these scopes. But this is not the best endoscope, but it is a next level of endoscope. This is better than the other one. It's got lights that show up on it. The wand is a little bit long for what we need, but this is an OtoScope. This is used for looking in your ear. I thought, great idea. Now on this side, let's take a look at it and see what it looks like. Don't have the fan on yet, but you can get an idea what we're looking at underneath here. As we look at the bottom of this cooler, and right there you can see the memory. We can read Vengeance on that one. That's reading across underneath because I'm sitting right on top of the memory. And that metal grate you're looking at, that's the top of the memory. Whoops, I can keep that still. Yeah, that metal grate that you're looking at here is that metal grate right there. See my finger? So that gives you some idea of proximity. So let's get the other fan on, and then we'll look at it again. Double checking my labels. The labels go this way. So air flows out from the front end, out the back. And I'm sitting right on top of the memory, and I'm raising it up just a tad. And And then once I have this on, then we'll take a look at it again. Okay. I'm going to raise this side up just one notch. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. That side looks good. So raise those just a little bit. Let's take a look at that. You can see how that looks on those wires. Let me rotate that around on opposing sides. Proximity looks pretty good. Now let's look underneath. So you get an idea of the clearance because I'm sitting right on top of the memory. Right here, you see the light. I'm sitting right on it. There's my finger. And you see how much clearance we've got between that RAM and that fan. And I'll move this scope and show you on top. Let's move this around. How high this is. Let's see where we're going to put this. Put it right there. Okay. And you can see the height clearance. How high that fan is. To measure that, that might be 3/8 of an inch. But that gives you some idea of clearance. Clarity. All about clarity. So we'll look again at the bottom. Pretty slick. So camera looking at a camera. We're sitting right on top of the memory. That's the cooling fin for the memory. And that's how high I have the fan up. How high is that? Looks to me like about maybe just less than 1/8 of an inch. I could have set it right on it, but I didn't. I went it right off of it. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Cool, huh? Gives you some idea of looking at memory inside a case. And we used a endoscope for that. Kind of cool. Okay, now we got to get the video card back in. Got this fancy wand on here. Didn't have to disconnect any power. Now granted that's a hassle and it'd been easier to done it all at one time, but it wouldn't have been easier if we'd had any errors, if we'd had any problems. We'd been scratching our heads trying to figure out what was wrong. One of our little flaps came loose on the video card power connector. So let's get that back on. Okay, and we are back in the slot. Fantastic. Okay, all we need to do now is secure the video card. Okay, and that's in a little bit of a pressure to push that in there so that that works. What I'm doing is pushing the case toward me and holding it with my chest so that I can get that screw to line up. Otherwise, there's a little bit of space there. So the second one will go in straight down. I expect the BIOS will go through the same issue, trying to figure itself out, reconfigure and re-enumerate while it's trying to re-enumerate the devices before it finally boots. And of course, when we get finished, we'll run Bella Arc Advisor again and let it tell us and report how much memory's in here. We'll also let Windows tell us how much memory's in here as well. So everything is plugged back in. We'll get all of our stuff out of the way. I always save containers for memory because sometimes memory comes out of a machine and it may be a while before it goes into another machine. So I always like to save these. Memory always went in anti-static bags. We haven't had anti-static bags for memory in ages. So I keep this stuff. I didn't get rid of the DDR3 boxes until we got rid of DDR3. I still have 2 DDR3 machines. Memory's all installed. We need to put up our screwdriver. I like this long screwdriver. Sometimes building in these deeper cases, it comes in handy. I don't have to hit it at an angle because of the handle. I can go straight down. So I don't use it all the time, but it comes in handy. I'll put up a link to it for those that are interested. Okay, we should be good to go. As far as the bore scope, I'm a little on the fence. I like it. I don't know if it's, I don't know. You guys have to tell me what you think. Part of it is like anything else. You got to figure out, you know, the user. You got to figure out who's using it. So looking again at the memory, just clears the case. Plenty of room. Interesting stuff. I don't know about you guys, but that was kind of fascinating. So I'm going to turn that off for now. Pioneering for you. Takes a minute to shut down. That's amazing. We needed something that's separate and independent, not something that worked with a phone. That is separate and independent. It's definitely better than the other one. What I'm going to be curious of is to take a look at the memory card and see what's on there. It really doesn't matter because we were able to do this and show it in real time. That's all that mattered. You guys saw it with the overhead. So now we'll do I'm doing a run through in my head. All the memory's installed. We've got the fans back on. We've got the video card back in, screwed down. So we should be ready to stand this up and check it out. You guys ready? I know I am. So now we're ready for the next step. We'll get the power tap. 2 things to plug in. Plug in the power tap. Plug in the display for the video, which is HDMI. A word to the wise, I have read some users have had difficulty with their video cards when they're using the display port. When they used the HDMI, problems went away. They thought it was something with the motherboard or the BIOS, but it was something with video. So don't know what that's all about, but I'll just throw that out there. We have to do HDMI to get the magic that we do up here, and like showing BIOS screens. So we got power plugged in, got HDMI plugged in. We're going to turn power on, power to the machine. Let's see what we got. I'd like to go into the BIOS and take a look at that right quick. So as soon as that comes up, as soon as it beeps, it beeped, I will hit the key, and we should be going into the BIOS now. I think we got it. And let's see what we've got here. Let's do easy mode, which is F2, and that's what I wanted to see right there. Wow. All 8 slots, each with 32 gigs. Kind of blows your mind when you think about it. So we now have 256 gigs of RAM on this motherboard. It's loaded. I'm stoked. Next thing to do will be to go into Windows, see how Windows sees it. Then we'll run our Belarc Advisor report. That's pretty cool. So 32 gigs is what I wanted to see. We see our fans that are running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure about one of our system fans. I may replug one of these fans because we have 2 in the front, we have the 1 in back, and with the 2 on the processor, so 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of the fans is not showing up here in the BIOS. So we may change where one of those fans is sitting. I'm not sure. I need to go through that, figure that out, but I'm just going to throw that out there. So now that we see we have all that memory, let's reboot. Again, XMP is still disabled. I'm not ready to go there yet. We want to get through the process to see if the RAM is going to be okay with us. The fact that we're booting with all the RAM in it. When you had the X399s, it was a process of elimination, and it was a hassle for a lot of people. So I want to see if this is going to work as is. Then later we'll enable XMP, and if that doesn't work, then we'll custom set it, and we'll show a separate video on that, probably using the DRAM calculator. So into Windows we go. I just got to look at that again. That just blows my mind. DRAM status. That's a lot of memory. Okay, reboot. F10, yes, and it's interesting, this last BIOS is much more stable with some of the things they fixed. I still wish they would fix hot plug, hot swap, so we could do individual ports. It's all or nothing. But hey, this beats what we have in the X399. Every time I get ready to do hot plug, hot swap on the X399, I got to reboot the machine, which is like not the way that's supposed to work. How about it, Gigabyte? How about a BIOS update? Okay, we are now getting ready to go into Windows. Whew. Another thing we need to do is plug in a key. We have a key. A while ago it said their servers were not available, but I can't customize Windows since it's done the updates until I put in that key, like changing desktop wallpaper. I want that to say Threadripper 3. So let's do properties, and right there it is. Windows says installed RAM 256 gigs usable. Wow. Kind of blows your mind when you think about it. And of course I've renamed the computer to be seen on the network by something I could recognize. So the next thing now to do, I'm through with my strap. I'll take that off. I can take my gloves off right now. I like to work safe. It's not every day you put 256 gigs of RAM in a computer. Wow. Okay, now let's run Belarc Advisor. Now I happen to have a copy of the report of the old report, and this shows that we had BIOS F2, and this is the old report. And for memory, it showed how much memory we had in here. So I'm going to make a copy of this old report, which would be right there. So I need that. Control copy, Windows flag E, Control V, enter. And I will make a copy of that. And I'll take the original and I will send it to a compressed folder. Copy that. Put it under my public downloads, drivers, as a backup. So now when I run the new report, I have a copy of the old report. So we will now run Belarc Advisor and create a new copy. And we'll check the network. So while this is running, I think we can kind of go over. We've updated the BIOS, and this is part of the process of building our foundation. We updated the BIOS, and we stepped through each one of those BIOSes to make sure we got everything in there clean. And now that the BIOSes have been installed, and we were good with what we saw, we then powered the machine down, put the RAM in. We got to look at that through the, Belarc is doing its thing. We got to look at the RAM in relation to the CPU fans with the endoscope, which was kind of cool, I think. So we've got all of our RAM in, got the video card back in, and with this motherboard the latch was already down. We didn't have to flip it down, but it was easier to get to with the fans off. And I did pull the fan off on the closest to me on this side by just pulling the clips off the fan. But when I put the fan back on, I had the video card out. Made it, and the video card being out made it easier to get the rest of the RAM in. So we got all 8 sticks of RAM in. Phew. I'm trying to wrap my mind around that. So BIOS update, RAM. Now we're running the new report. Now what's nice with having a copy of the old report, I can put that copy in there with a different name. I can bring the two up side by side and compare. Let's see what we got. Okay, now it shows the BIOS. F4C 35-2020 shows the fully installed memory. Wow. Everything else is pretty much the same. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is Builder Buy. In the next video, we're going to take this to the next step. We got 2 directions we can go, but probably the first direction is we need to use this a little bit to make sure everything is good. We also got hot plug going, which I'm thankful for. We're going to activate Windows, and then we'll probably go start working on the NVMe cards. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's see where we're at right now with Windows, if we can maybe activate while we're at it. So this PC, right click, letter R, and Windows is not activated. Activate Windows, no key, change the product key. So I'm going to use an old product key. We'll put in a key. By activating Windows, you get the best experience, free from interruptions. Activate. Now what's curious is this is a very old key if this works. We've activated this copy of Windows. So Windows is now activated. So I have access to the desktop. So when I right click and personalize, I can change my wallpaper. And what I want to see up there is Threadripper 3. Plug in the memory. I need to get this up here sideways and show you guys so you can see the power supply. Ain't that wicked? If you notice the plugs, the clear plugs, when this thing is powered up, you can see them lit up. Kind of neat. I'm going to find some wallpaper. So what I want to do on the C drive is I'm going to create under, let's see, let's go to this PC, pictures. We'll call this wallpaper. And let's go to 3970. Put that over there. Get rid of both of those. We'll right click, personalize. Picture, we're going to choose, we'll browse. Let's go to wallpaper. And there's our wallpaper. Now, Ryzen Threadripper 3. I was okay with the other, but this is a Ryzen Threadripper 3. I could have put up there that this was a, oh, that's a good idea. That this is a 3970. Well, don't want to be too crass. Ryzen Threadripper 3. So, hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. We'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. We are out.